I just wanted to start off just with framing what we do at SheMaps and how all of our resources are STEM aligned. So we really believe that we need to promote the use of geospatial technologies in schools, and that's geography, but it's also very much those STEM subjects. But we don't just see STEM as the traditional science, technologies, engineering, mathematics. We also believe that a capable STEM thinker is a 21st century thinker. So we've got S stands for the sophisticated problem solvers. T is the talented creative thinkers. E is educated digital natives, and M is mindful collaborators. And so we've worked that philosophy into all of our teaching resources, which is, I think, why they're so powerful and so accessible for teachers and students to work with. So if you, sorry, I'm just going to move my screen so my controls aren't in the way. So if you are interested in following along with me today, you can do this. If you go to the SheMaps website, shemaps.com, and you can click on this little hamburger menu and go down the right-hand side, and you'll see our drones in forestry tab, and that will bring up this page. So in partnership with Forest Learning, we developed these resources. So we've used a lot of their videos and Forest Learning resources within our teaching and learning units. So this afternoon, I'm going to take you through a little bit about what's on this page. I'll take you through our 5-6 unit and the story map that's associated with that and some of the resources. I'll show you the Forest Learning VR videos, which are embedded in our story maps. I'll then go on to the year 9 and 10 unit and show you an overview of that, and then we'll open up to questions at the end. So if you do have any questions, feel free to type them into the type them into the chat window, and we'll answer them as we come towards the end. If you're watching this recording, feel free to contact us if you have any questions following this viewing of this webinar, and we'd be happy to answer any of your questions. And we do have a contact section on our SheMaps website. So just a bit of an overview of the Forest Learning have got some fabulous resources to support the teaching of sustainable forestry. They didn't have a lot around the use of drones in forestry, so that's where our partnership came in. And we took it even deeper than just drones in forestry. We looked at it from a digital systems point of view. So our grade 5-6 unit is very, so there's our award, we're skiving, sorry, about our award on our website. We're very proud of our award. We've got a drones in forestry poster that you can download and print. So everything on this page is downloadable, totally free, open access for you to start using with your students. So the 5-6 unit is linked to digital systems in forestry, but we also brought in the, because we wanted to have that HAS alignment, we didn't want to just focus in on the geography part of HAS. We saw an opportunity to really dive into the history of forestry, and so look at the history side of HAS. So students will discover the history of early forestry and then learn how digital systems have assisted Australian foresters to make forestry more sustainable. Students go through a story map, learn about the different digital systems, and there's lots of activities which I'm going to show you. And then they go through and design and implement their own drone mission to solve a forestry problem. And they design and create a game-like app using Scratch to reinforce the understanding of drone mapping and STEM concepts. So with these resources, you can download all of them at once if you didn't want to download them individually, and it will download a zip file with all of these files in. Otherwise, you can just click on them. Each one will individually open up and you can view it in the browser, and you can download those for later use as well. So I'll just guide you through the lesson sequence. So we have an overview with the learning intention and the success criteria for the whole unit. We've then developed the 5-6 unit in modules, and each one of those modules targets a different element of sustainable forestry and digital systems in forestry. We've comprehensively mapped this, and I'm not quite sure how you're seeing this at the moment. I have a monitor that doesn't show up all the lines and things. So if you see there's lines missing, they are in the document when you download it. My monitor's just being a bit temperamental at the moment. So we've got everything color coded. So all of our Hass strands and substrands are listed down the left-hand side, and any key ideas and concepts that are in that particular part of the module are listed in this next column. We have a link to the curriculum mapping document, which I'll show you in a moment. And then each of the lesson sequences modules has steps that you can go through to teach, and then opportunities for formative assessment. There's it points out where there's summative assessment, and then there's the link to our story map. So the story map has been designed using ArcGIS story maps, which is a very powerful tool for content delivery for students, where they can navigate maps. You can incorporate videos, pictures, text. It's a lovely format, so we're enjoying using that. So just an overview of the story map. This is something that students can either navigate themselves, or you can navigate with your class using a display screen or interactive delivery system. And everything there is embedded in research from our partners about the history of early forestry. So we've got some connections to the First Nations practices in forestry. We've got information about early settlers, etc. I'm not going to go through everything, just to let you know that this is the way that it's laid out. So you can follow along. I'm just going to go back to that lesson plan. You can follow along in the lesson plan. It gives you an overview of what to do. It gives you some guiding questions as well to ask the students, but those are also in the embedded into the story map. So accompanying that are the booklets. So we've got the digital systems in forestry booklet. We've got the early forestry booklet. So the early forestry booklet, for the section that I just showed you for the story map, is if for those people that want to print something for their students to write on, otherwise display it, have students answer these questions in any digital format you want. So we haven't specified that you must answer using this. We've just provided it because some people prefer this method. I'd certainly be encouraging you to get students to create their own story maps or PowerPoint presentations or digital portfolios or traditional writing in books, however you want to get the students to engage in the resources. And if you find a particular resource isn't suited to your needs, don't use that part of the resource. The resource is flexible enough for you to be able to tap in and decide which learning journey you want to follow. So we've also embedded mathematics and digital technologies into the curriculum, and this unit is very strong in the Hass and digital technology space. So in this activity, students do what's called a jigsaw activity. If you're not familiar with a jigsaw activity, there's a hyperlink there that will teach you a little bit more about how to do it. But basically, students split up the tasks and then complete the research, and they're guided through the research at the top of the page, the navigation system here. So there is an overview of digital systems in forestry and how forestry has changed in modern times. And this is where we've brought in some of the beautiful forest learning resources. So I just want to, you can either click on it and watch it within the story map, or you can actually open it and watch it outside of the story map. I just want to show you how a video works. I'll just make this full screen. I'll show you how one of the forest learning VR videos works if you haven't seen it. Can you hear that?
No, we can't, Sarah.
You can't hear it? Okay, so I'm just going to play it. I'm not going to fuss around the fact that you can't hear it at the moment, but I just want to demonstrate how you interact with this. So it's a 3-dimensional video filmed with a VR video camera. So we've got lots of those videos embedded in our resources. Let me go back to the story map. So this particular one follows the George the Farmer series, and you get to see some of these digital systems in action. So this one has, I'm just going to go a little bit further closer. So this one also shows the optimizer. So this is a, I'll just pause that because it's actually playing in my ears as I'm showing you the video. This automated optimizer will scan the log and cut the log optimally. So it uses the best part of the timber for perhaps building use, and then the bits of the timber that are a bit scrappy might be used for mulch or for paper manufacture, so that nothing is wasted. So students learn about all of these digital systems, like how barcodes are used to track timber. There's a barcode activity that students can go in and learn about how barcodes work, and that aligns to the digital technologies curriculum for years 5 and 6. So there's a whole lot more about automated optimizers. There's a whole lot about GPS tracking systems. And then there's a whole section on drones in forestry. And that's where we have a deep dive into how drones are used. We go through the different types of drones that are used in forestry. And students get to interact with some more videos and learn about the different ways that data is gathered with drones. It's not just about the actual drone technology, it's about why we use it to solve authentic problems. So what are the problems that foresters face, and how are digital systems used to help them? So I don't want to go into details because we just haven't got time this afternoon, but it's a very comprehensive look at how drones are used in forestry. And then students look at modern forestry practices. So through all of that, we've got the lesson sequence, we've got activity sheets where students learn the terminology, and we have very comprehensive assessment rubrics. So we've outlined each element of the curriculum area, highlighted the part of the achievement standard that we're assessing, and then told you which module that this relates to, and then we can ascertain on balance, using teacher judgment, whether students are at standard, above standard, or below standard for each of those learning areas that you do with the students. So there's digital technologies, design and technologies, HASS for years 5 and 6, and mathematics for years 5 and 6. And then we've got the detailed curriculum links for you. You can see specifically what content descriptions that we have addressed, and there are links to Scootle, so you can see further explanations of how those content descriptions might be used across the curriculum. We've also done, as part of the 5-6 unit, a case study. So students do a case study of Sarah Madison, a fabulous role model who is a forester who uses drones in her work. So she works for 141, and she uses lots of digital systems, and we've got a video there, quite a short video, 5 minutes, of Sarah, us interviewing Sarah, her telling us about the fabulous work that she does, and there's some funny stories about how she uses drones, and her biggest challenge or her biggest risk that she has to face when using drones is actually eagles that like to swoop. So she's got a strategy for how to deal with the eagles. So that's revealed in that video as well. And there's some more information. So students then answer some questions, and then their task is to complete a case study on how Sarah uses drones in forestry. Before I move on to the 9-10 unit, the task for the students is to complete a biography of Sarah Madison. Were there any questions on the 5-6 unit before I moved on to the 9 and 10?
We haven't got any questions in the chat yet, Sarah.
Okay.
We have got a couple of comments. Thanks, Lorraine. This is an amazing resource. Loving the careers link, a big thing for us geographers at the moment. So yeah, if you have got questions, please do put them in the chat, and I can ask Sarah those as we go.
Wonderful. Yeah, we think it's really important for students to see role models in primary school as well as secondary school. So we intentionally put this in, and I'll just go back to our She Maps resources story map that we've got here. We've actually got a collection of careers posters. If you haven't seen them, you can download them on our website on the free teaching resources section. And we've got a lot of role models, and we particularly want to promote diverse industry role models as well. So we've got lots of females featured in these posters, people from different cultural backgrounds, and we've got other posters that you might find useful. Just students might not be aware of all the different career pathways that are possible with drones. Some fabulous careers there. There's our drones in forestry poster, and there's a sneak preview of our CARS checklist, which is in our Healthcare in the Himalayas resources, which I'll be showcasing next week. So let me just go back now to drones in forestry, and yeah, download these, have a good look at them. I've really only just skimmed the surface of what's in them at the moment. The 9-10 resources we've based on systems thinking. Excuse me a second, I'm just going to grab a glass of water. So we've got systems thinking as the underpinning mode of thinking throughout that unit, and that really caters so well to your digital technologies curriculum, your design and technologies curriculum, your science curriculum. So what students do is they understand systems thinking through this unit. They'll analyse environmental, social and economic impact of digital systems in forestry. They develop a digital systems in forestry report for potential clients or financial backers, which include a risk management plan. So we've really gone to deep into that year 9-10 digital technologies curriculum. Design and technologies crosses into that area as well, so that risk management and also in the science space, the risk management template that's available as part of the resources is an interactive resource. So it's a downloadable Word document. You can download as a Word or Google Doc. And students can understand about how risk management is done in the real world. Students then research content, source assets, and develop a website using HTML and CSS to present a case study of a forestry worker. And we've given the details on the case study. And then they design, define, and develop a manual flight plan in a simulated forestry training environment, and then define, design, and implement code to demonstrate automated drone flight in a simulated forestry situation. It's quite a mouthful when you have to read it out loud. So again, this download all package will give you everything, including those interactive case study documents. We've got the lesson sequence. I'll just guide you through that quickly. Again, learning intention and success criteria that I've just told you. Again, it's modularized. So you might decide that you want to teach part of this with one particular teacher and another with another teacher, so you team teach. So the geography teacher might focus on one module and the digital technologies teacher might focus on another module, or one person might handle the whole thing. It's entirely flexible for your situation. We've got a whole lot of really engaging videos for students, so I'll take you to that story map, and we start broad and then narrow it down. So we start with what is systems thinking, and there's a lovely little video here of a mousetrap game and how everything is connected and the different elements within the game work. And you'd be surprised how many students these days have never heard of mousetrap. So there's just a little blast from the past. Sorry to make the participants of this session feel old. And then we've got a gorgeous OK Go video where they've set up a Rube Goldberg machine and just shows how if one part of the system doesn't work, then the whole thing falls down. And yeah, it's a lot of fun. So students find that really engaging. Then we get a little bit more into the nitty gritty. What is systems thinking? So there's a video there for students. And then we've used this poster designed by the Australian curriculum team, which looks at all the different elements in systems thinking. And we've embedded this thinking into, so all of these elements are embedded into that teaching and learning plan, if I can find it, in the lesson sequence. So we've got the impacts, systems thinking elements spelt out in each of those lessons in the lesson sequence. Go back to this one. So then students look at systems in forestry, and again, you've got one of these forest learning via forest VR videos that can be viewed again either by viewing it in the browser or by putting on VR goggles and watching it through a headset. So we've got another jigsaw activity where we get students to focus in on one element of using digital systems in forestry, and then they have to create a flow chart to show their assigned forest process as a complete system. We then go into quite a digital technologies focused, but although this is still systems thinking framework where you look at the inputs, the processes and outputs, so help students to understand how to use an IPO chart. And then we add a feedback loop. So there's a little bit of a video about barcoding technologies, and students then understand how a feedback loop might work with a barcode scanner. And I've got my screen zoomed at the moment, so you can actually view it at a smaller resolution. And then the students have to create an IPO flow diagram to expand their original diagram of their identified digital system that they did as part of the jigsaw activity. There's a group research task where students work through a digital systems in forestry activity where they can navigate around this map, find, this is the beauty of story maps. I absolutely love this function, where you can zoom in on an area in the map, you can have videos, and this would be a fabulous tool for students to present their work in as well. So we've got a little bit about GIS and drones. We've got Mike Sutton, a little bit of an overview of the forest fires and how Mike uses drones to manage forest fires. There's sections on LiDAR, drones and forest management. There's information on the Eagle Eye project. So students don't do the whole thing. They go through and focus on one of these, and then again, as a jigsaw, report it to the whole group. We then have a case study. So this is a huge unit of work. So you can see this could be a semester's unit of work for a year level, or it could be a term for 2 classes. So there's quite a lot that you can do here. The case study, we've got a case study retrieval sheet where students watch sections of videos and answer questions. And by answering those questions, it helps them understand terminology around systems that are used in forestry and helps them to put together a case study of Mike. So sorry, just scrolling really quickly, and I'll go back to the teaching resource. So basically the story map was for modules 1 and 2. And then moving into module 3, you've got the drone activities where we would specify for both 5 and 6 and 9 and 10 that you do complete our classroom drone essentials training with your students first, just so that they're aware of drone safety and that they're wearing their safety goggles and they're tying their hair back and they're staying in safety zones. We've embedded all of those safety elements into these lessons as well, so students can complete their pre-flight safety checklist and then go through the process of designing and implementing a flight path for a drone mission simulation. So I'm aware of the time. I only wanted this to be quite a short presentation. As I said, again, the resources are available on our SheMaps website, totally free and open access. I've only touched a little bit of what they do. Go in and have a look and see, because there's elements of the Year 5, 6 one I didn't mention either. So yeah, have a good look, and we'd really love your feedback on any of these resources if you do start using them. We'd love also for you to share examples of your students completing the missions. Share with us your, if the students create websites or case study reports, we'd love them to be shared with us. If students create story maps, another thing, we'd love to share on our blog the kind of work that you're doing, and engage with our community a little bit more and celebrate how these resources could be used. So were there any other questions, Paul?
We haven't got any questions at the moment, Sarah. But
All right, I'll stop sharing my screen.
sure thing. We've got Lorraine says the focus on systems thinking is fantastic, including the feedback loop concept. I don't know if you wanted to talk a little bit more about that, Sarah.
The feedback loop.
Yeah.
Let me go back to it.
While Sarah's finding it, if you have got questions, please put them in the chat, or feel free just to come off mute and ask a question, or put your virtual hand up, and yeah, I'll find you on the board.
All right, I'll share my screen again.
Sure.
Okay, so I will go over this a little bit. So the way that we've scaffolded these resources is start narrow and with the IPO, and then go deeper. So with the whole 9-10 unit, we've gone start wide and then funnel down. But with the IPO, we've actually gone start narrow. So get students to understand that in systems thinking, there are inputs, there are processes that happen, there are outputs, which might translate into, we have these actions, they work within a system, and these are the outcomes. So working within the example that's given here, there's a video that talks about how the barcoding system is used to track timber. So the input is that the barcode is scanned when the log is on the optimizer. So the barcode is added to the log. So the input is the barcode on the log. It's processed with a scanner all the way along. So it's scanned, the output goes back to the office so that the people that are not sitting out in the forest can actually see that that log is currently out in the field. Then it's scanned again, and so the log might be divided up and put onto a truck. And so while it's on the truck, it's processed. That actually goes into a computer to say, this is the location at the moment. The output goes back and signals to someone who's on their device in the field, or who could be back in the office, this is where the log is now. And it's tracked right through to the timber yard. And it can even be tracked out into the building industry to see where so basically from, it's kind of like the paddock to plate principle for logging, understanding where it starts at its source and where it ends up. There is actually some technology now that's being used where blockchain technology is being used to track timber, and we're getting a little bit outside of my expertise because I don't personally work in the timber industry, but it's designed to stop illegal logging worldwide. So blockchain technology is used to actually track the DNA of timber and track where it actually originated from, so that countries don't import illegally logged timber, and it keeps the whole timber industry accountable. So I probably went into a bit too much detail there, Paul.
No, but that can I say something?
Yeah.
Sarah?
Yeah.
So just on that, I actually have quite a strong background in the timber industry, although a long time ago, so before all this technology. Are the forestries using that technology in Australia?
It's emerging.
The blockchain technology?
The blockchain, yes, it's emerging. Yeah. So
okay.
there are, I am aware that there are some of the technology is being used in Victorian forests. I'm not sure of New South Wales
New
at
South
this
Wales.
stage. Yeah,
Yep.
I think if you had a look at the case study and Mike Sutton, what he talks about,
Yeah.
he goes into some pretty good detail on. There's a the second video with him has got quite a lot of detail. It's quite a long video.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. Oh, cool.
Yeah, it
No,
is. It is.
I'm glad you mentioned about that because yeah, because I'm very interested in blockchain technology as well. I think it should be more widely used.
Yeah, and it is. It's an emerging technology still, and I think some organisations will gradually transition from the barcode technology to that timber DNA blockchain technology. You know, and I think the idea of these units of work is not to say to schools that this is the only technology that's used in the timber industry. It's a growing industry, and when new technologies come on board, the timber industry is embracing them. So you've got seed planting drones, you've got drones mapping vegetation. So there's LiDAR scanning on drones, but not just drones. There's wearable backpacks that foresters carry through the forest to scan. Yeah, so the technologies that are being used are amazing, so, along with satellite technologies. But the drone technologies are giving the foresters a greater level of detail than the satellite technologies. But, yeah, watch this space. It's quite interesting.
It is very interesting, actually. I'm glad you raised that.
All right. Were there any other questions, Paul?
I haven't got any, but I did love your dad joke there, Sarah. It was unintended, I'm sure, but forestry, it's a growing industry. It's a growing.
Totally unintended. Yeah.
Well, look, if you haven't got any more questions, you know, I might use this time to do a shout out to Sarah. Sarah has done an amazing job on these resources. And yes, we did win an award at AGTA conference recently, and you know that there has been very much because of the work that Sarah put into this. I'm sure, Lorraine, I absolutely love that you the comments there about the resources and that you're enjoying them. For those of you who don't know, Lorraine's involved with Geography Teachers Association, New South Wales and ACT, and you know, so getting the associations to see the value in these resources and fantastic. So yeah, Sarah, thank you for your work and all of this, and a shout out.
It's been an amazing journey. I've learned so much. So yeah, it's great. And I'm hoping that we've made it simpler for teachers to access all of this information.